What's up, everyone? Welcome to this week's edition of Invisible Walls. I'm not going to say it's Thursday. I'm not going to say it's Friday because, as you guys all saw, we had some problems getting the last episode out. We do want to apologize. If it makes you feel any better, pretty much our entire editing system went down for several days. So we were stuck in a holding pattern. So we apologize. And to the guy out there who's stalking me, off. On today's show, we have me, Shane Satterfield, editor-in-chief of Game Trailers. We have the Sheriff of Nottingham, who's fighting off a wicked cold.
Yep, it'll be vanquished. I'm sure I'm going to take care of it.
We have Patrick Morales.
Yes, after much technical difficulties, I'm online.
Yeah, we just tried 3 different mics before we finally got one to work, so hopefully the audio in this is... as many complaints as we get about it already, we're cruising for a bruising. And we have Daniel Bloodworth sitting in today.
Hey.
And Grumpy McGrump sitting in for the entire episode once again.
Hello, children.
Alright, so Tokyo Game Show is coming up. I guess first a note while we're gone at Tokyo Game Show, Invisible Walls is going to carry on. So look for the show every end of the week. We'll be rocking on. When we get back, we'll be doing a TGS wrap-up show, so look for that. But before we head out there, what are you guys really anticipating from this show? Sheriff?
I guess we hadn't talked about this on tape yet, have we?
No.
But for me, probably Platinum Games. I'm looking forward to seeing all their stuff, Bayonetta, Mad World.
They just announced something new with IG, right? IG Productions.
Do you have details on that? Or is it just like a floating...
I think it's a handheld game, actually. So it's interesting. There's a lot of, like, Game Maker, Anime Maker
Oh, wait, didn't they have the
partnerships
Infinite
now.
Line?
Yeah, I think
that's already announced, though.
Yeah.
So
That one not so much.
is it going to be a collaboration, kind of like the Professor Layton series?
Well, Professor Layton's not a collaboration, but Level 5 is doing a collaboration with Studio Ghibli. So.
What about Production IG?
Well, they're doing the thing with Platinum.
So you want to check out other games?
Yeah, I'd like to check out their games.
But you've seen them
Team
already,
Eco,
right?
we need another, Shadow of the Colossus or
Team
something.
Eco.
Follow that up. That's like the huge, I hope it's there.
Yes.
But above that is Bumpy Trot 2. I'm worried. Worried it's been canceled, hadn't heard from for a while. They moved to PS3. No one else cares but me. But
They showed it on the PS3 at TGS last year in this little dinky booth shoved
well,
off in
they
the corner.
had a giant trot.
Bumpy Trotter, yeah.
So
They can't
I'm hoping they at least bring it back. They can't let it go.
Well, at the very least, it'll probably be released in Japan, I'm guessing.
We'll see, but I mean, haven't said anything about it for so long.
And Justin, for the sake of our listeners and viewers, Bumpy Trot is called X in Japan.
Oh, no, it's called Bumpy Trot in Japan, but here
No,
it's
I'm sorry, in the US.
Steambot Chronicles in the US.
Because that was a smashing success, the first one.
It was for me.
That's all that matters. What about you, Patrick? What are you looking forward to from Tokyo Game Show?
Well, everyone knows that I'm a huge Street Fighter fan, so I'm really excited seeing more of Street Fighter 4 on consoles. They really unveiled the first console showing of it at Leipzig with the 360 version. Now they're going to show the PS3 version, and why I'm looking forward to that is because they are just about ready to ship it, and they've announced a lot of new things for it, particularly new characters. Cammy. Those anime cutscenes, and I think it's going to be good. Plus, of course, there's Final Fantasy 13 and all other permutations of that.
I can't even keep track of them all.
Yeah, and the rumors running around that they're going to unveil Kingdom Hearts 3 there, which is sure to appeal to lots of people. And just
Have they announced what platform that's for yet?
not really, but there's a good chance it's going to be PS3.
Why would they do that?
Why wouldn't I do that?
Because there's like 2 million PS3s out there.
Yeah, but Japan had a lot more PS3s than there are 360s.
Yeah, but why wouldn't they make it for the Wii?
Oh, for the Wii.
Well, yeah.
I'm sure
That would be
they'll
interesting.
spread it around.
They never do that.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, Square is... to me, Square is kind of like, like id in a way. Like, they want, like, the highest production values on their big games, like Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts. And while they might do a spin-off Kingdom Hearts on the Wii, like, I wouldn't see them doing, like, the next sequel on the Wii.
But with that argument, why did Square develop for the PlayStation 2?
Well...
Good one.
PlayStation 2, though, wasn't such a big distance behind the GameCube or anything.
Oh, I think it was pretty far behind the Xbox. I mean, certainly the Xbox eclipsed
Well,
it pretty much.
they-
The
They sell a
Xbox
few
sold like
copies.
5 units in
They
Japan
did
and like
sell
a
at
year
least
later.
5 copies.
So, yeah, I mean, I mean, the PlayStation 2 is definitely
I would think it would be
hugely
in,
dominant in Japan.
Big consoles. Yeah. They could put on 360 too.
Think how much money they'd make if they made it for the Wii. Especially with the Wii's casual audience and the moms and...
Yeah.
I mean, it's Disney. To me, that makes the most sense, but I don't run Square, do I? But what are you looking forward to personally, Bloodworth?
I'm looking forward to the Eco game. I want to see what that's going to be like. You know, the series is so crazy and mysterious and imaginative. You know, and it really like it has a heart to it. I think is what it is. You know, and you just don't know what those characters are going to be like and what they're going to do, and they get so much emotion across without even any dialogue.
Yeah, those games went beyond just pixels and whatever. They certainly made you think a little bit about what you've been doing in video games for the past how many years. It certainly challenged the assumptions that people have about video games. So definitely excited to see that. All right, Grumpy, what are you looking forward to from TGS?
All right, so what I'm looking forward to is, what I'm hoping is that Sony brings something big next week. I think, we've had the discussions. Sony needs a big fourth quarter this year. There is nothing that is, really boner-inducing. I know the fanboys are going to say, oh, Final Fantasy, oh, Little Big Planet. I don't think those games are going to sell the huge amounts. I think, obviously, the biggest game of this fall is going to be Gears 2. That's going to sell a buttload. Microsoft are going to market it. They'll have people lining up at the door. Sony needs to come with something, if not for this fall, for maybe early winter. I mean, something that's been, quietly in development, and this is their big unleash, because seriously, I can't see them competing after this year. I mean, even though they've got the better console, and, it is a much better console across the board than the 360 is now, they just don't have the software. They've got to come. They need a big show.
Well, I think they're saying Resistance, obviously, is going to be their big game for Q4. And then, obviously, Little Big Planet for the more casual player. I think Little Big Planet has a chance to be huge. It's a complete wild card at this point. I mean, I've been playing with the beta now for a few days, and it's pretty freaking awesome. Like, I can't imagine once I get my hands on the full game how much I'm going to enjoy it. But I just don't know if the messaging is out there yet to the average person. I don't know if my mom knows about Little Big Planet. And if my mom would be willing to spend, a lot of money on a console that picks something like that up.
That's the question. Would Little Big Planet would sell like a phenomenon on the Wii, but would it sell on a $400 PS3 when, people are not buying a PS3, as a casual games machine?
Yeah, I think if the PS3 had a big install base, it would definitely fare very well. But with the way it is right now, it's going to be tough. So
Well, I think though too that Little Big Planet has a across the board kind of appeal.
it does, certainly.
Except for
Every
like the
age-
guys that are like totally super macho and call everything gay.
Right.
You
That
know.
doesn't have, jibs.
Everybody, from casual to hardcore is really digging that game right now.
Yeah, that's why I think it has a chance to, hit critical mass or whatever. But
It deserves to, but yeah.
it does. It's totally creative. It's going to change the way we look at video games forever.
How
but
many PS3s have been sold?
Not enough.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's my case. So, yeah, I don't think that's going to be a factor unless all of a sudden they drop the price by $200, which they're not going to do. It's especially in this economic climate.
Well, they did just show Heavy Rain, which was sort of a game that was flying under the radar, and they showed it for the first time a while ago. That looks pretty cool, I think. So we'll see. Japan does always provide a lot of surprises from the Sony camp, so hopefully we'll get some more this year.
Fingers
Yeah,
crossed.
hopefully they can get some RPGs back. Because other than Final Fantasy, what's
What do they
Japan
have?
showing? Yeah.
That's their other problem, The Japanese buy consoles for RPGs, and if you haven't released a lot of RPGs for the PS3 yet, then
That's because Microsoft have bought them all up for the 360.
You're right. And I think personally, myself, what I'm looking forward to is I'm hoping and praying that we'll get a look at the game that Grasshopper Manufacturer is working on with EA. That is my dark horse candidate. Even if we just get a trailer so we even know which direction it's headed, that is my biggest hope that we'll get some kind of a glimpse into that game at Tokyo Game Show.
Murderers, arms dealers, extortionists.
I used to own Stillwater.
All right, Justin, you went out to see Saints Row 2 last week. It was just a multiplayer event.
Yeah, it's multiplayer co-op focused.
I was at the very same event for the first Saints Row. It was pretty fun because they had a dummy there that you could punch, and they take a picture of you punching the dummy. I don't know what that has to do with Saints Row at all. What was this event like? How was it?
Well, they had a hot dog. A guy in a hot dog.
Could you punch the hot dog?
Probably, but he looked like a nice guy.
Did you ride the hot dog?
He went down a slide. They had he was at some prohibition era, speakeasy, and they're like, yeah, this slide is where they slide the liquor, and it's not for people, but hot dog went down anyway. It looked totally awesome. Oh, we have footage of that. Yeah, so we do have footage of that.
So the hot dog went down the liquor chute.
Yeah, basically.
Do not punch the wiener.
But yeah, so played some multiplayer. It's really pretty crazy. They have a new mode that I believe is called Strong Arm, and it's kind of like an all-in-one mode where you're playing with everyone. You have various activities that you can do. Like they have the insurance fraud is like one activity. So you compete for that. You try to kill the other players. You hit your own dudes with cars. It gives them a super bump, but whoever wins the activity gets a little cash bonus.
You hit your own dudes with cars?
move on.
What?
Yeah, you're in. Well,
Insurance fraud.
Insurance
Oh,
fraud,
okay.
you get points when you do that.
It's like
you
they
try to
practice on
kill
the 10 freeway.
Yeah. The whole thing though is like super chaotic as a mode. We got some footage of it. It looks pretty crazy. But anyway, activity by activity. So you win that one, then you go to another one, which is like Hitman. So you're trying to seek out targets on the map and kill them, and kill the other team who's trying to kill them. And
So it's like VIP. Each team
yeah,
has
basically.
like a...
So it's kind of like a fast. You do this mode, then okay, and then you have to go to a new location on the map, and you go to the area for the new mode, and you start killing people and pimp slapping people with a giant pimp bird finger, and yeah.
That's actually my big question. It's like they're pouring on the ham so heavy in this game. Like, is it becoming
it's
too
their
much?
style.
The first game wasn't that campy, though.
Well, I saw.
I mean, there were funny parts of it, but this whole game just seems like it's like a parody at this point.
Well, I read a good quote. I can't remember. I think it's a blog. It's Pixel Vixen or something, but she called it a GTA for the insane clown posse crowd.
Oh boy!
Seems kind of accurate. I don't know. I can give it that. But yeah, it's really,
All 15 of them.
It's really over the top. Oh, one cool thing though, it doesn't have to do with over the topness necessarily, but there are graffiti tags, and you try to take control of them, and they'll give your team like a bonus, like your team constantly generates cash, or you get a damage bonus, or everyone gets the magical pimp slap. Which I guess is kind of
Which we all should have, right?
So they kind of have, it's kind of a mix of like controlling areas and running interference for the other team and getting your stuff done.
So when I played the original Saints Row, I liked the concept. I felt the driving was probably the worst part. It felt like you were driving on glass a lot of the time for me. What's the driving like this time?
It didn't feel like I was driving on glass.
As
I
in-
hadn't played that. I played this
Porcelain.
first.
I mean, when I say glass, I mean obviously you're on a
Yeah,
very
like,
smooth
the
surface,
traction
and there was not much traction. That was the real letdown for me in the original game.
I think GTA might still have a leg up on him there, but
But
I hadn't played
GTA's
Saints
driving
Row in a
was
while.
kind of
It
busted
is,
as well.
but,
Yeah.
it has you can feel the.
How
physics
hard
of
is it?
right?
Seriously, I still think the best game
I think it's
for
hard to
driving is
strike a
Scarface.
balance.
Yeah, I like the handling in that game too.
Yeah, and it's all handling.
It
So
felt
Tara
okay.
Patrick, did Tara Patrick show up at the event?
She didn't. They cheaped out.
Yeah, they totally advertised it with a picture of her. Like they even advertised nudity.
Yeah, no, here's a dude in a hot dog suit. That's just.
To some people,
No, it's a sausage fest. Both literal and figurative.
like every other gaming event that there is.
You definitely need a stripper pole in this bitch.
Definitely.
All right, next we're going to talk about Disaster Day of Crisis, or I guess I'm going to talk about Disaster Day of
This
Crisis.
summer action flick of the week.
Well, I took it home for the weekend and gave it a good 5 or 6 hours or whatever.
Okay.
And I guess the first thing I could say about the game is it's probably the best Wii game I've played in a while.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's saying
That's something.
That's a sliding scale you're working on right
Wait
there,
better
fellas.
than the last one.
Is it as good as Balls of Fury?
But it's total action game, right? It's even
It
though
is,
it's Monolith Soft.
Yeah, it's total action. It's basically a light gun game. First of all, like all the gun combat's on rails, and you can use the trigger button to pop in and out of cover, and you pop out, you shoot using the Wii remote or whatever. You aim with it, and then you squeeze the B button to fire your weapon. And the one thing I dislike about the gun combat is that you can't line up a shot and then duck into cover, reload, and then duck out and have your shot at the same spot again. It actually, like, when you pop out, it changes your aim.
Weird.
Yeah, I don't know if
Just
they,
like in real life.
right. Yeah, I don't know if they did that to keep it from being too easy or whatever, but that was one thing that I thought was a little funky. But I guess the other thing I really like about it is the variety. You're never doing one thing too long. Granted, probably 50% of the game is the light gun aspect, but there's driving, there's a whole rescue element to it, which admittedly isn't very deep. You basically just pick somebody up and carry them 10 feet to a little icon, or you have to use like a motion controls to like lift rocks off their feet or whatever. And then there's like running sections where you're running from natural disasters, and you basically just have to waggle the Wii remote and the nunchuck as fast as you can.
Can you talk about what has caused this day of crisis, or is that
The coolest thing about this game is that you get alerts on the game through the Wii remote. So
Okay.
Like
you
a
run
radio
with-
transmission?
Right. You run with the nunchuck, so you can take the Wii remote and put it up to your head like a phone. And you get these transmissions that are literally like a minute or 2 minutes long, where they talk about what's going on, there's a tsunami coming or whatever. And it kind of keeps you in line as far as what you're supposed to be doing.
Huh.
As far as innovation is concerned, it's not very innovative. It's certainly a mashup of a lot of other games. The story is pretty good. Voice acting, definitely a little ham-fisted at times, especially at the beginning, but it gets a little better later on.
But it is, again, like English in a Japanese game, so it's
It is.
somewhat
You could-
expensive.
Yeah, and you can totally import this game, too. I mean, I'm not sure when it's coming out in the U.S. You guys
They
know?
haven't
Mike
announced
Mike
it.
was
They haven't even
going to
announced it in the
use
U.S. at all.
If you have a
So-
Japanese Wii, import it. Everything's in English. Like, the menus are easy to figure out and navigate. So it's certainly import-worthy, and who knows when it'll be coming out here.
Yeah, maybe we'll find out later this week. So
I think above all, it just felt good to play the frickin' Wii again for the first time in like 4 months. I was like, damn, I haven't touched my Wii remote in so long.
Dusting it off.
Wii Music's coming.
Yeah. So I mean, ultimately, it's not a top shelf game. It's going to be something that will help people pass the time until they wait for something more worthwhile. But as far as like games for the Wii that are targeted towards the hardcore, it is certainly one of them. So. There's some depth in the shooting. There's like a focus button you can hit with the C button that gives you a limited amount of time to like zoom in on the enemies for headshots. But other than that, it's pretty much you're just straightforward, run from point A to point B, solve a couple simple puzzles, shoot some dudes, do a quick time event, and be
That's
on.
what video games are all about, right?
That's it, baby. Disaster Day of Crisis.
I told you, we can't save everyone.
So the other night I'm sitting up watching TV, it's really late, and in between commercials for sending in my old gold jewelry and Girls
To be
Gone
melted.
Wild, I saw an advertisement for a pay-per-view event, BlizzCon. Dude, you can attend BlizzCon via pay-per-view, and I think it was like $50.
Yeah.
Is it just me, or is that insane?
You know, it's showing that the game's going mainstream. I mean, DirecTV are obviously investing a lot of money with regards to the gaming leagues and all the stuff that they're doing.
All of which have flopped horribly.
Well, yeah, they flop horribly because nobody exactly knows how to execute it yet. BlizzCon might be, it might be interesting. Is it worth $50? Well, I mean, people pay $50 for a boxing match that lasts like 30 seconds. They may have some interesting press conferences. They may have some interesting demos. There's going to be a lot of prepackaged stuff they're going through. So I don't think it's going to be worth $50, but I'm glad to see that stuff like this is going to be covered, especially given the lack of coverage E3 got from the broadcast media.
Which is kind of odd. Why is it BlizzCon but not E3?
Because they
Blizzard
can make
wants
money out of it.
Now, Patrick, you're going to go cover BlizzCon for us.
That is right.
And you're a big Blizzard guy. You like pretty much all their games.
Mm-hmm.
If you were unable to go, would you spend $50 on the pay-per-view?
That's a good question, but
You
Well,
have to think about it?
I think the Epic Mod is the big pull for people.
Yeah, that's the
Normally,
thing.
If you
Right,
go to
right.
BlizzCon, you get something that if you were to sell it on eBay.
That's the caveat, right? You get a mount, an exclusive
Yeah.
mount. I wonder how that works. How
I
do they
think-
deliver the mount
And-
to
Yeah,
you
I don't know
if
how
you
they-
buy it on
you-
paper?
it's
You'll get a
through a
key
code, yeah, and then you input that code in game, and
I
then
would
it gets
bet,
delivered
though,
that
like
way.
these
Well,
half
pack from
people,
a couple years
just
ago.
half of the people, or probably 80% of people, put down the $50, get their mount, watch 10 minutes of it, whatever.
That's
You didn't
probably
play
the
well,
case.
Do you think
you
they're
know?
just paying? You think they're just paying the $50 for the mount?
I think that would be it. I mean, there are definitely people that are willing to do it. and willing to
Unfortunately,
pay
what
money
they
for
don't
that.
realize is the mount has a big sign on the back of it saying, "I'm an idiot who paid $50 to watch BlizzCon on DirecTV."
It's almost the same case for going to the actual convention itself, because a lot of the people going there are just going for World of Warcraft, and
But they're going to like hang out with people that play and
that's true.
play with other people who play.
That's true.
the
But
costumes.
the goodie bag is a huge component of it.
What's the goodie bag?
You get that mount, and then you get some other beta codes. Last year, it was a beta code for Wrath of the Lich King, which is coming out this year.
What do
So
they could give this year?
the mount confirmed, and then some other miscellaneous stuff for World of Warcraft. I'm not sure if they're going to throw in a Diablo 3 beta, but that'd be pretty awesome.
You also get stickers and buttons.
Yeah, and
And maybe
a
a t-shirt.
and a T-shirt.
Yeah,
I paid $80
T-shirts
for this.
also.
So buy it or not buy it, Patrick?
For the pay-per-view package?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're really obsessed with WoW, I guess that's your only option because Blizzard only sold
Buy it or not buy it?
No.
No.
Don't bother.
That's what I thought.
It's more than BlizzCon. I mean, it's more than just World of Warcraft. There is StarCraft 2 and there is Diablo 3, so there's going to be a lot of stuff out there for...
Right, but you could come
It'd be nice to
to...
see a lot of some Diablo 3 stuff, right? I mean,
there's gonna be-
there's still...
Well, you could come to
there's
our
still
site
things
or
to
any
show.
other website that's covering it. You could see all that stuff for free.
We got to give away Epic Mounts, Shane.
Yeah.
You should give away Justin as an epic mount.
Next up is On the Hook, where we answer your most trying questions. Marcus, I'm sorry, Grumpy, you have a question for us today, don't you?
I do indeed. How come games journalism always centers the attention on game designers and similar when we all know that game development is a team effort? Front figures are okay, but when do we get to know more frequently about the programmers and the artists that made the idea come to life from inaction? Bizarrely wordy question, but having packaged enough PR, press tours, and EPKs and stuff. I mean, you only have an X amount of time to put people in front of the journalist, and people want to, they look at the graphics, they want to know about the graphics engine, they want to know about physics, they want to talk to the designers about the gameplay elements. No disrespect to the engineers and the programmers without whom this stuff would not be, possible. But what they do isn't that sexy to a wider audience. People want to get inside the mind of somebody who, that they can relate to, they can see visually on screen. They don't really know about the code behind it. It's that simple at the end of the day. And, Shane, I mean, how many interviews with programmers have you put up? It just doesn't work.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't work for broadcast and for video, unfortunately, because they just don't spend enough time out in front of the camera to get really comfortable with it. And it's not like the gaming industry is unique in this regard. I mean, look at Britney Spears. She hasn't written a single song her entire life. People feed her songs, feed her the lyrics, she sings them, and she makes all the money off of them.
Yeah, or like, film, you wouldn't interview set painters and lighting people,
Yeah.
and
Who's going to interview a grip for a movie? Yeah, I held that sandbag for 4 hours.
You need all those people, but I mean, when you're doing an interview, you need the guys that have the vision and are driving the whole team forward.
Also, when you're talking about a 3-minute piece, like, you need to talk to somebody who knows about every part of the development. You can't talk to somebody who just programmed, like, the physics. You need to talk to someone who, in that 3 or 4 minutes, can give you a great capsule on the entire game.
And if you want to learn more about that side of it, go in depth. I mean, there are sites out there like Gamasutra, where you can go and get a more in-depth. I know it's another site and we're pimping it, but
I have no problem with Gamasutra.
Yeah, it
I love
gives
that
people
site.
a bigger in-depth look at every aspect from initial concept to programming the engine all the way through to testing. So I mean that's a great place to go. It's just not viable for the mainstream media.
Game Developer Magazine, another good place to go where you can hear from those guys.
Exactly.
And programmers and artists, we love you guys. Don't get the wrong impression. We totally respect what you do. It's just basically a matter of how much time we have and the information we need to get.
Unless you're a hot chick.
And then, whatever you do, come on down!
Exactly.
All right, Justin, you have the next question for us.
Yeah, it's from some person.
McPhone.
Oh, McPhone.
McPhone.
Oh, we got a ring on the McPhone. Here's what came through. What happened to the golden age of video games that 2008 looked to be? Back when GTA 4 and MGS4 came out and blew everyone away, there were a ton of awesome titles that were coming down the line, like Force Unleashed, Ninja Gaiden 2, Mercenaries 2. It seemed like 2008 was going to be the best year in gaming, but then, it was kind of overhyped and got let down. And what happened? Were we spoiled by 10 masterpieces?
Yeah, we were. 2007 was the best year in games ever, in my opinion.
And the start of 2008 was pretty damn good as well. There was, some good product. But, yeah, we went through a slump this summer. And
Summers are always that way, though. There's always, like, one nugget that comes out that you can play. But otherwise, there's never anything. There's always a drought.
There was definitely a bunch of nuggets being dropped this summer, thank you very much. But he makes a good point. I mean, Force Unleashed, Ninja Gaiden, and it's Ninja, not Ninga, dear boy. And that's to McFarlane.
Oh, and Grumpy, it's Gaiden, not Gaiden.
Gaiden, I'm British, Gaiden. And Mercenaries have underwhelmed. Seriously underwhelmed. And, now we're hearing Fable 2 is shipping without co-op. And
What?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
shipping
really
without
weird.
co-op, and we'll get a patch a week later. You look genuinely. Do you work for a game for a video games like website type
I
thing?
spend time playing games instead of sitting on the internet reading and writing about them.
I can do both.
Yeah, I bet you didn't play as many games this weekend as I did.
I completed Lego Batman.
Good for you.
I enjoyed it. It's freaking great. But yeah, I mean, that's the problem, is that all the games that we were hyping, and I remember we actually did this on Game Trailers TV back in February, and everybody was like, this is going to be the year, it's going to surpass it, all these great games coming out, and every single one after GTA has seriously underwhelmed, and it's just a shame. And it comes down to things like sloppy production values. In the case of The Force Unleashed, shipping buggy code. Now we're getting games that aren't completed day one, which is just retarded.
And honestly, I was playing a lot of big Q4 games over the weekend, and there are more disappointments to come.
I'm sure.
That's all I'm going to say.
Well, you look at it. I mean, we've got Gears of War, we've got Fable, we've got Wrath of the Lich King, which is that's going to be fine. We know that's going to be fine. Then we got Gears, Little Big Planet. We don't know if that's going to be huge or not. Resistance will probably be very good, and will sell 2 million copies or however many PlayStations are out there. But again, it's not the 8 million that you need for a big quality game. And then we look at the Wii, and the Wii's just a joke this fall.
Yeah,
an absolute unmitigated disaster. So yeah, I mean, we're actually we were all warm, fuzzy, happy, and excited back in February, and seriously, it's getting very, very disappointing.
Go buy Rock Band 2, kids. That's all I gotta say.
Published by MTV Games, parent company of GameTrailers.com.
That's right. And still, go buy it, bitches. All right, next up, we're going to give Grumpy McGrump the pulpit so we can preach a little bit. What do you got for us today, Grumpy?
Yea, and I bring unto you joy and tidings from the Florida Supreme Court. They have told Jack Thompson to f***eth off. It's great. He got officially disbarred last week. He's got 30 days to finish up and get rid of his other clients or do whatever he needs to do. He's obviously filed an appeal.
Burn all the paperwork that would incriminate him.
Exactly. But yeah, he's done. So I mean, we are going to have a party in like 26 days' time when he's finally out the door.
Now, is he only disbarred in Florida, or is
he is banned from practicing law in America for life?
For life?
Life disbarred for life, dear boy.
Wow.
Indeed. Mind you, he looks 306. He looks older than John McCain, so he'll probably be dead in 3 weeks. But interestingly enough, it's funny that after this news came through, Doug Lowenstein of the ex of the ESA, the Invisible Man who was supposed to be running that, sent a letter off to all the games outlets saying that the games industry, the media in general, games media are actually responsible for creating the monster that is Jack Thompson by giving him the time of day.
I never got that.
Well, you were, what can I say?
I'm out of the loop, apparently.
I read it on Kotaku. But yeah, he's basically saying that by giving Jack Thompson the time of day and encouraging him, we were all validating him. And I think he's just making excuses now because
he didn't do his job to protect the industry from that jackass.
Exactly. So yeah, it was a very interesting week. I mean, it's good to know that Doug's still alive and he hasn't fallen off the face of the planet. But yeah, Jack is gone, and we are going to count down the days, and then we're going to have a big party, and we're all going to dance around the hat.
The Army was using Halo on a sniper base to do one thing: to get the snipers prepared psychologically to be willing to kill as snipers. And so if what the people on the other side of the aisle here who are saying this has no effect on anyone are rebutting everything that the Department of Defense knows.
All right, that's going to do it for this week's show. I don't know what day you got to listen to it, but hopefully it was rather than later.
And I hope it was 2008.
Again, we apologize. We've been having problems with installing some new equipment here at GT. It's all ironed out now. It should be good to go going forward. All right, this Friday on Game Trailers TV on Spike TV at the sparkling hour of 1 in the morning, you can get a huge overdose of Halo Wars. The game's been underground for a long time. We went down and hung out with the developers for a day. Got tons of exclusive new footage. Know you guys want to check it out. The game is looking hot, so be sure to watch Game Trailers TV on Friday night. We'll be out for the next couple weeks, but people will be holding it down here on IW, so be sure to check out the show. Should be just as good as it always is, because we got peoples. And we'll see those people in 2 weeks when we get back from Tokyo Game Show. Be sure to check out our coverage. As usual, we'll be rocking out coverage around the clock here on GT. We will not sleep to make sure you guys get it first on GameTrailers.com. See you next time. Peace.